Hi, everybody, and welcome back. Today we are continuing our series of crimes and mysteries linked or surrounding the royal family. Around 8 p.m. on March the 20th, 1974, Princess Anne and her husband Mark Phillips were on their way to Buckingham Palace after attending a charity film screening. The couple were only married for 4 months at the time, and the vehicle were Anne's lady-in-waiting, her bodyguard, Inspector James Wallace Beaton, and the chauffeur. As they drove down the Mall, the road between Trafalgar Square and Buckingham Palace, a white Ford Escort overtook them and forced them to stop. A bearded man with light red hair got out of the car and with two handguns, one in each hand, charged at the back of the limousine. Beaton immediately stepped out of the limousine to intervene, thinking it was an incident of road rage, but the assailant shot him in the right shoulder. On this night, the Princess Royal was only assigned one protection officer, which was almost the norm in those days, as even the Queen mostly travelled with only one bodyguard to and from her residence at the time. Ian Ball would not have known the route the limousine would take that night, but the fact that Anne and her husband would attend the screening was indeed publicized in advance, so it is assumed that Ball followed the maroon limousine as it left the theatre. Police would later find two pairs of handcuffs, Valium tranquilizers, and a ransom letter addressed to the Queen in the vehicle. Ball had typed a note demanding £2 million to be delivered in £5 sterling notes. Ball asked that it be stored in 20 unlocked suitcases and put on a plane destined for Switzerland. Anyway, Inspector Beaton tried to shoot Ian Ball, but his wounded shoulder affected his aim. After firing once, his gun jammed. Ball grabbed the rear door where Princess Anne was sitting and tried to open it. "Open, or I'll shoot," he demanded. While Princess Anne and Mark Phillips tried their best to keep the door shut, her lady-in-waiting crawled out the door on the passenger side. With that door open, Officer Beaton jumped back in and placed himself between the couple and Ball. Ball carried out his threat and shot into the car. The bullet went into Beaton's hand. Ball then shot him a third time, and this caused the officer to get out of the car and fall on the ground. The chauffeur, Alexander Callender, one of the Queen's drivers, then stepped out to confront Ball. Ball shot him in the chest and he fell back into the car. Ball finally got the back door open and grabbed Princess Anne's arm, while Mark Phillips grabbed her around the waist. Ball told Princess Anne she had to go with him. As the two men struggled over Anne, her dress ripped, splitting down the back. Anne later recalled that she just kept telling Ball she was not getting out of the car, and in response to one of his pleas, she said, "Not bloody likely." Finally, police officers started arriving. Police Constable Michael Hills was the first on the scene. Patrolling nearby, he heard a commotion and thought it was a traffic accident and an ensuing fight. He approached Ball and touched his shoulder. Ball turned and shot Hills in the stomach, but Hills managed to radio his station before collapsing. Ronald Russell, a 6 foot 4 inch former boxer who was working for a cleaning company, was driving home when he saw an altercation between Ball and Constable Hills. Not seeing others around or really recognizing the vehicle or reading the situation, he stopped to help the officer. Another motorist, a chauffeur named Glenmore Martin, also stopped, parking his car in front of Ball's vehicle to prevent him from escaping. Ball aimed at him, but he thought quickly and bent down to help Hills. Ball wasn't interested in Hills, but was still intent on getting Anne out. But the road was filling up. A Daily Mail journalist, John McConnell, also came across the scene. Recognizing the insignia on the car, he knew a member of the royal family was somehow involved and likely in danger. He told Ball not to be silly and to put the gun down. Ball shot him. After McConnell fell, Ball turned back to the vehicle in an attempt to get Anne out. Ronald Russell approached them from behind and punched Ball in the back of the head. While Ball was distracted, Anne pushed herself out of the car on the opposite side. Ball broke free and ran around the car towards her, but she jumped back in and closed the door. That was when Russell punched him right in the face. Now more officers had appeared, and Anne noticed that Ball also noticed, and she told him it is his last chance. He better run, and run he did. Peter Edmund, a temporary detective constable, had just pulled up to the scene when he saw the man take off through St. James's Park. Edmonds chased Ball, threw his coat over Ball's head, and tackled him to the ground. Police found over £300 on Ball in £10 notes and also discovered that he rented a home on a dead-end street in Hampshire, only 5 miles away from Sandhurst Military Academy and the home of Princess Anne and Captain Phillips. After the incident, the royal family made it known that they had no intention of living in bulletproof cages. Princess Anne, in an interview, recognized that their greatest danger was maybe not from all kinds of organizations, but from the lone nutcase. Ian Ball appeared in court on April the 4th, and his lawyer spoke of his history of mental illness. But Ball also insisted on giving a statement and said that he did what he did because he wished to draw attention to the lack of facilities for treating mental illness under the National Health Service. He pleaded guilty to attempted murder and kidnapping charges and was sentenced to a life term in a mental health facility. And obviously, he spent a good part of his internment at Broadmoor. In September that year, Queen Elizabeth II presented the George Cross, the highest award for courage, to Inspector Beaton. She presented the George Medal, the second highest bravery award, to Constable Hills and Ronald Russell. She also awarded the Queen's Gallantry Medal to Constable Edmund, John Bryan McConnell, and Alexander Callender. Glenmore Martin received the Queen's Commendation for brave conduct. In an interview years later, Ronald Russell recalled what Queen Elizabeth said when she presented him with his medal. She said, "The medal is from the Queen of England. The thank you is from Anne's mother." A report dated the 27th of June 2023 states that Ball is still, to this day, detained at Broadmoor and that he is now 75 years old. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that story, and if all goes well and if we are blessed enough, I will be back next week with the next one. So until then, please take good care of yourselves and each other. Bye.